Okay, now we're going to take a look at Joanna and her butterfly. And Joanna, as you enter the water, pressing out a little bit too wide with the arms. You want to slide out a little bit, but if I'm going to draw where your arms should be as they start back in the pull, your arms are out here and here, really wide for the pull. They come in and they need to slide out maybe to here, okay? So you want to pull back a little bit more and not slide the hands so far out. Bending the elbows a little bit more, you're really straight to the outside with the arms, and that's creating that kind of wide pull. That far away from the body is going to be hard to create forward motion and forward force in your butterfly. So it's going to weaken your pull to be out that wide from the body. As you come through, finishing the arms all the way back at the hips, that's good. Hands are coming out turned a little bit, so I'd rather see the hands palm up at this point, and as you can see, they're already thumb down. So I think that when I'm watching your fly, I see that the thumbs are only down for a little while in the fly, and what I've been trying to talk to the group about, you want to exit palm up, so your palms should be facing straight to the ceiling, okay, on both sides, and as you can see, yours are facing towards each other. So when you're moving forward, as we'll see in the next frame, you're here. This is a good position with the thumbs down, okay, and the arms are really relatively low to the water. That's where we want to be when we're coming around on our butterfly. But then as you notice, you turn them around a little bit too early, so they're palm down right now, and then they kind of raise up, and they're a little too high when they're coming over the water. So we want to be lower with the reach in front, and we get that by keeping those thumbs down. Right now your palms are facing the bottom, and we'd really like those palms to face outward. So as I'm watching, your palms are facing towards the water, and we would want the thumb down so the palm is facing back out to the outsides of the lane. So they'll be facing the lane rope and the wall in this case, instead of facing in. So I'm going to erase that off. And then as you come forward in your stroke, right in front of the shoulders, so maybe a little bit too narrow, but not bad. And then the hands kind of go forward. So I see that a lot with people who turn their thumbs too early, they enter, and then they actually, after they enter, they keep reaching forward under the water a little bit, and I think that's what causes the wide catch that you have. And what you want to do is reach to your furthest point out in front and catch the water immediately and pull. So as we're going forward, again, a little wide with that. Breath is early, that's good, right ahead of your stroke. Again, head's getting down ahead of the arms, that's really nice. But you can see here, your palms are down, and your arms are a little too high over the water. So I would want your arm here. Instead, it's up here, so it's a little too high. I want it really low to the water. If you can look on this side, that would be much closer to the water level, and your hand is way up here, arm is way up here. So you're actually trying to lift up instead of move forward. So you're up and forward. I would like it really low and forward. That's going to give you more speed up front. But the way you get there is by keeping the thumbs down instead of turning those hands over. So you're turning the hands a little too early, and that's creating the height over the top of the water. You can just see here, what we want to do is that as the head's entering, those arms, and I'll draw this again, your arms are still up here, and you got this bend in your wrists, and we want straight wrists. We don't want bends in our wrists. So you're kind of coming over, and what's going to happen is I would rather have your hand straight, your arm straight here, and just above the water line as your head's diving in. So it should be very close to the time your head's coming in. Your head should be there, but your arm should be just over the surface of the water out in front, and not bent and higher than that. And really that all to me is about what you're doing with the hands. The hands turn too early. This is what I see from a lot of flyers, and they get in this heightened arm position as they're going to enter, and it really kind of slows down their fly. because as you're reaching, you're going up instead of down. We want to travel down, and you're really shallow with the back and shoulders, and we'll show that in the video when we do the underwater part. But that's just right here, just the hands turn just a little too early. If they would stay thumbs down here, it's more natural in the shoulder, and you'd stay really low to the water level. So other than that, from the top, it looks really good. Just arms a little wide and then just turning those hands. But you're reaching in the right spot as you're coming in. As we're coming into the wall, I'm going to go ahead and forward you in for the turn. You can get a little quicker and more power too if you get the hands turn. Okay, as you're coming into the wall, I would like to see your hands right at the surface, so right on the edge of the wall. What happens is you have your hands touching the wall kind of below your shoulders. So as you notice here, it's tough to get into a tight tuck and get that somersault where your legs are kind of somersaulting underneath you at this point and coming back to the wall. It's tough to get to that point when your hands are below the shoulders. So you want your hands on level with the shoulders. So I want your hands up higher as you're hitting that wall. That's going to get you in that somersault position a lot quicker. And then you're part of the way through that somersault too. So when you reach lower in your shoulders, it's hard to get the body in the somersault, and it's hard to initiate the somersault. So a little slower coming through the wall. Mechanically, again, if you were in that with the hands up a little higher, when you're looking back at this point, you should be in tighter to the wall, and we can see your eyes are looking here. And we'd be a little tighter to the wall with our plant, a little higher with the feet, and your eyes would actually be looking straight up. So right here, this is where your eyes would be looking, and we can see yours are looking back towards the back wall. So we'll work on that and talk about that again, but that's going to help to get the hands a little higher as you initiate the turn rather than being lower than the shoulders. Coming over the top again, what I'd like to see here is not the straight arm, so not the arm coming over straight at this point. So at this point, you should be with the arm here and bent at the elbow, and the hand's going to be right behind the head. So that will quicken up your movement into the streamline. So these hands, this bottom hand would be out a little further so that you're in that streamline position a lot quicker. And it would happen with a bent elbow coming over on that recovery arm through the turn instead of this very straight arm. This is going to create a little more drag, and it's going to be a little longer for you to get into the streamline as you're coming over. See how long it takes to get to that streamline. We want to be a little quicker with that so we can get in a position where we're really cutting through the water at that point. A little shallow in the push-off, but again, we'll talk about that when we get to that part of the video. Again, here you can just see the height on the arms. This is where we want to continue to try to get better. If you have the thumb down and the pinky up, so if I'm drawing your hand, okay, there's your thumb, and I'm just going to stick figure the hand, but your pinky is the highest point, so your hands turn this way when you're coming around. That's going to give you a lower profile on that arm, and your hips are going to be a little higher in the water, and you're going to be diving forward a little more rather than reaching up. Long term, I don't even know if that's really good for your shoulders. So there's so many good things that you're doing in terms of your reach and how you're trying to execute the fly. If we can just get you to turn those hands the right way and hold on to it a little longer with the thumbs down, I think that's going to help you fly a lot. Again, it gets a little too much height up front that way. So that's where we're going to work on it. Anyways, we'll go to your underwater view next, and we'll see what we see there.